and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and always go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host Raina, jar of treats, and we're ready to go and talk about my August TBR. So let's get started with what I'm currently reading, and that is Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. Now, this book is an old science fiction novel. I've always wanted to read it since high school, I believe. I never did get around to this one, but this is now the month and the year for me to do so. And I'm more than halfway through it. So now, Mr. Heinlein, so you know, was an aeronautical engineer, and he served in the U.S. Navy, and he published 32 novels, 59 short stories, and 16 collections during his life. He was born in 1907 in Missouri, and he passed in 1988 at the age of 80. He's said to be the dean of science fiction. And I think he's the dean instead of the father for the reason that his books were so intelligently written, and he was always very precise about the technical aspects. He had that kind of engineering mind. The father of science fiction is actually said to be H.G. Wells. So I had to look up all of that information. I don't know a lot about science fiction, but there are some interesting facts there. So when I read the titles of his books, his bibliography, what I see are the titles of rock and roll songs, actually, and the names of bands as well. He wrote a book called Number of the Beast. Later, that became the title of an Iron Maiden song. He wrote a book called Puppet Masters, which was published long before the Metallica classic Master of Puppets. Starship Troopers was a song in the 70s by the band Yes. That was the title of one of his books from either the 50s or the 60s. The one that stands out to me the most is his book, which is entitled The Rolling Stones. And that was published about 10 years before the band came along. So between the interest in space travel in the 60s and 70s, combined with Heinlein's social commentary, spiritual references, they made great song titles and band names. So those kinds of things were considered a bit edgy and controversial, and that's kind of what I see when I when I look at his titles. But anyway, let's talk a bit about this specific book, Stranger in a Strange Land. Now, first, I should know better than to read a book where the word strange appears not once, but twice. This book takes place in the future and is about a young man whose name is Valentine Michael Smith. And he's a human. He was born to human parents who were sent to explore Mars. However, Mike, as he goes by, was brought up in the ways of a Martian. He speaks Martian, and he has the abilities of a Martian that would be considered kind of supernatural for an Earthling. He is brought back to Earth by humans on a subsequent mission to Mars to figure out what happened to the initial mission. So that was basically the one where, Mike was conceived and birthed. So what do I think? Well, first, I got the uncut version. So this is 20 to 25% longer than the original published version. It's slightly over 500 pages. And I don't think that is really necessary to the story. Because for me, the story has flashes of just absolute brilliance. There's just some insights here that are just astounding. But the story is a bit detailed and long for me. So keep in mind, this is not my genre. But in all, I can't say that I'm not enjoying the book, because I am. So next I plan to read 2 banned books. Both are buddy reads for me. So the first is Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I'm reading this with Daniela of Uncommon Reader, and I will link her channel below. I had hoped to start this in July, but I took on Stranger first, so I'll start this one soon. I've read this previously, of course, but it's been years and years, or as Daniela says, more like decades. So yeah, it's definitely been decades for me. And it'll be interesting to see what my impressions are after all of these years. So once I've completed the reading, I'll do my detailed video talking about it as a banned book, why it's banned, and all that good stuff. So next we have Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. This is another book I've always wanted to read, and I just never have. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's also a banned book. So these books will be number 14 and 15 of the 24 that I plan to read in 2024. This is also part of a readathon, which is hosted by Marilyn Mendoza. And I'll link her channel in the description. She's calling it the Maya Angelou Phenomenal Woman Reading Event, and it's to celebrate both her birthday, which occurs in August, and the 4th anniversary of her BookTube channel. So now, later in the month, I have something else going on. I already have the book coming. I ordered it online, and it is called Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And I will be attending her author talk. This is a virtual talk. It's through my local library, and it occurs on August 21st. So the story, if you've never heard of it, actually sounds phenomenal, really. It's about a woman who befriends an octopus while she's working as an overnight janitor in an aquarium. So that sounds like fun, and I would like to at least get that book started prior to the author talk on the 21st. Now, I'll also have my book of the month. I've already chosen it. It's coming in a few days, and it will be a separate video showing all the choices that I had. But I'll give a little spoiler alert on this. I thought the choices were a little weird this month. So somehow I still managed to wrangle a decent one out of it, but I'm looking forward to it actually in the end. So the title will be revealed in my upcoming unboxing video. Now, I also have some poetry. Maya Angelou and Mary Oliver. And I've kind of been reading those for the past week or so. In fact, Pat from Book Chat with Pat and Marilyn Maya Mendoza from her channel both read poems by Maya Angelou to kick off our Maya Angelou reading event. So in honor of the same, I am going to read a very short poem by Maya Angelou. Bear with me for a moment here. I am going to read The Memory. Cotton rows crisscross the world, and dead tired nights of yearning. Thunderbolts on leather strops, and all my body burning. Sugar cane reach up to God, and every baby crying. Shame the blanket of my night, and all my days are dying. You know, one thing that's happened with me reading the banned books is that I otherwise would never have read so much about slavery. It's a difficult topic, to say the least, but it is well worth the time because the stories, although sometimes harsh, can also be very uplifting. It's a testimony to the human spirit that anyone survived at all. And to me, these voices need to stay present and loud so we can hear them. I'm more convinced now than I ever was. So that's my August plan. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. If you're reading any of these books or any that are similar, I always love to hear from you. So thank you again for watching and stay safe, everyone. Have a great day.